So, yes, Master P kicked off this week's episode of Dynamite. And look, if you didn't moan about Travis Scott, you can't go and moan about Master P. Well, admit though, we are living in very strange times. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to AEW Dynamite, and that's right, I am back in my box, but I want to take a few seconds to thank everyone for being so kind to me over WrestleMania weekend. It does make me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum, and keep an eye on the channel for lots of content that we did film when we were out there, and you can go back in time and watch the content that we already filmed. I know what I'm talking about, but I do know that I just watched AEW Dynamite, and I have thoughts. Some of them are good, and some of them are bad, and some of them are getting ups, and some of them are getting downs. But yes, Master P was in the ring, and he welcomed the ops to come down to the squared circle. Well, that's nice. They must be friends. This continued on too, because Samoa Joe and P talked about the good work that he has been doing in the community. That rhymes, so it must be true. When the Death Riders music hit, and out came Marina Shafir. Now, she was by herself, and surprise, surprise, this meant Jon Moxley and his crew had set a trap, and they jumped the ops from behind. It was kind of hilarious because Master P and Jon Moxley were then facing off. I was like, you know what, just do it. Who the flub cares? But no, Samoa Joe had learned a lesson. He then sneaked in behind Mox, and he put the choke on. This is when Master P gave him the funniest punches I've ever seen in my life. Now, there has to be a happy medium, because recently Travis Scott tried to kill Cody Rhodes' face, and here, well, I just thought what Master P was doing is very amusing, but I'm sure that we can figure something out. Let's not forget though, they're not trained wrestlers, so as long as they're safe, and this is when the Elite came out, and Swerve Strickland came out, and Kenny Omega came out, because they want to draw a line down this and tell you the good guys are here, the bad guys are there, maybe we should engage in some blood and guts. Now don't forget the abbreviation of that is BAG, so if you do want to ruin that match, just call it the BAG, and it sounds crap. When Samoa Joe got on the microphone and was like, oh hi Moxley, I've been whooping your ass, so now I'm coming after the AEW World title. This was good, because Swerve Strickland looked at him like, how dare you say that? You stole my mother. Samoa Joe is just the best too, and he was so over. And look, he's been so well booked in AEW that while I don't think he'll become the champ, I do have that little bit of jeopardy inside my tum-tum where I'm like, well, maybe we could do it. We've seen crazier things, but all of this is good. I like how all of the different people are coming together, of course, to build to a big multi-man match, but it just felt like an exciting thing to watch with my eyes. I don't care if Master P wants to get involved. I mean, he is a WCW legend. Brenda McKay was then backstage with the Patriarchy, and she congratulated Nick Wayne because he is now the ROH TV champion, the youngest champion in the company. Christian Cage then instantly took this belt because he was like, you ain't nothing without me, I'm your daddy. And he also insinuated that to celebrate, he had had sex with Nick Wayne's mother. Now, I understand that's a very direct way to say that, but why skirt around the issue? This was the things that were coming out of his mouth. Now, Nick didn't back down here, which I did like, because he got in Christian's face and was all like, listen, pal, do you see what happens when we do stick to the plan? Because you didn't stick to the plan, so you're not a champion. But I am. Eventually, Cage did put the championship back over his shoulder as he was like, oh, I love my family. But of course, we continue to plant the seeds here, although I have two things to say. One, probably need to speed this up, because it has been going on for a long while. And also two, if Adam Copeland and Christian Cage are going to get back together as a tag team, how the flap is Christian ever going to be a babyface? He is the worst person on the planet. He's also very entertaining. Also, I quite like this. It is nice and simple. When we got what I believe was a first-time match ever, and it had a surprise finish. Ricochet versus Mark Briscoe. Ricky as ever was stalling because that's just what he does, so Mark Briscoe went after him. Which when Ricochet was like, oh, I'm just going to use this referee as somewhat of a human shield, and he took over. Now, of course, even though Mark Briscoe is follically challenged too, all the crowd started chanting bald at Ricochet. And how many times do I have to tell you this? It hurts me too, man. Have you seen my head? Have you seen the light shining off of it? It's because, oh, you may not have noticed, but one day Mother Nature came and whooped my ass too. Maybe one day Mother Nature will find you and whoop your ass, so maybe you should start being nice. Otherwise, we won't let you into the Bull Brotherhood. That's not true. We're a very welcoming group, but you just never know, so maybe you should be a bit nicer. Everybody calm down. Ricochet was rightfully wound up, so he did get a 1-2 ooh after a brainbuster, and he dodged the froggy bow, and he hit a springboard 450, and he got another 1-2 ooh. So, yeah, admittedly, it wasn't going very well. Mo then got a dive because 2025, and he went for the J Driller, but Ricochet was like, I'm going to turn that into the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and he was going to use the ropes. And again, because people have been so horrible about his hairline, I was like, yeah, get him, Ricochet. But actually, Mark Briscoe reversed it. He got the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. And my gosh, he got the 1-2-3. exaggerating here, but I couldn't believe it. Now, yes, all of wrestling does overuse the surprise roll-up, but at least here it meant something. Ricochet was so mad, he jumped Mark Briscoe when he got out his golden scissors, and I don't think he was about to give Mark Briscoe a haircut. He'd also smashed him with Charlie the Chair before this, when finally Kevin Knight was like, oh yeah, I meant to be Mark's friend. He ran down to the ring to make the save. The Rock and Roll Express were also shown clapping in the crowd at this point, and at first I was like, well, that's a nice cameo. Little did I know, but we'll get there. But yes, I am going to give it an up because I just enjoyed both guys' work. They were really good here, and actually making sure that Ricochet got his heat back, to use the proper words. That's just smart, man. No problems with it at all. Up. Right, so the Rock and Roll Express, let's go. For you see, FTR have now returned from their suspension, and a huge reason for this is because they have a brand new agent. And do you know what his name is? Doink the Clown. Imagine it was. It's not Doink, it's Stokely Hathaway. Now, Stokely actually talked the truth here because he was like, why? Why are FTR suspended? All they did was touch Tony Schiavone, and let's go through some other things people have done recently. Ricochet, we just saw him with a murder weapon. Hangman Adam Page tries to burn down people's houses, and my gosh, the crimes of Jon Moxley, we could be here all day. I mean, he's not wrong. So that's how he's going to get this suspension expunged from the greatest tag team alive's record, which is when, yes, Cash and Dax started talking. I'm just going to give you the headlines here. I don't think they're very happy. I mean, they talked about the fact that Daniel Garcia got in their face last week and they were meant to be friends. When Dax Hardwood was like, yes, look who is in the crowd, it's our favorites, the Rock and Roll Express, why don't we go and talk to them? Now, you could tell something was up, because he was all like, man, how old are you? When Dax cut them off and said, probably like 108 years old. I was like, Dax, I'm a big fan of you. That's not really much of an insult. If they were 108 years old, good grief, they look great. He was also going to talk to them about their favorite matches, but it was like, that doesn't matter either, because we all know the Midnight Express was better. Like having an argument on Reddit. And Ricky Morton soon cut them off, and Robert Gibson looked mad too, because they were like, listen, damn it, we are legends, and you don't get to talk to us like that. Now, they are correct, but also, I was having a conniption here. I was like, you fools, look in their eyes, I think they're gonna kill you. That is true too, because they got them in the ring and gave them a spiked power driver. And I suppose the Paragon, which is the brand new name of Adam Cole's group, must have been watching from backstage going, give it a minute, give it a minute. Oh man. They dropped them on their heads. I guess now we'll go make the save. Now I'm going to be a nerd here and give it a down, because that is the new name of the Undisputed Kingdom, as we just touched upon. And while we did kind of touch on this last week, it sort of feels like we have done a renaming, because Mike Bennett and Matt Taven have just been kicked out the thing. I just feel like we could have done more with the story so down. Still, otherwise, this was a great way to let you know that FTR have totally flipped out. There is some criticism out there going, well, a few months ago, these guys were friends. Like, yes, that's the whole point. Cash and Dax have turned over a new leaf, or a bad leaf, and they don't even care about their heroes, because that didn't get them anywhere, which was also the problem with Adam Copeland, so now their new MO is death. I mean, Cash Wheeler deliberately said that getting nice got us nowhere. So I like this presentation, and I really like the addition of Stokely Hathaway. He's been off TV for way too long. This one has potential, man. It's getting it out. When we just had the best tag team match, and you can say whatever you want about the Young Bucks, but they really do know what they're doing. They're also facing Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight, so the only way to watch this was to take your tush, put it in a chair, grab a cup of coffee, and be like, man, I'm gonna have a good time. They also started at 100 miles per hour, and everybody was teasing super kicks, because that's what we do. But the bit you have to go and see is the double dive spot when people go to the outside and people were springboarding into the ring. I mean, they're just so talented, they're just so skilled, and even if this isn't your type of wrestling, surely you have to get a little bit of entertaining from it. They're like rocket ships, or bouncing fairies. Nicholas eventually was able to smash Bailey's face when he went totally crazy with moonsaults. When Mike remembered, oh yeah, I've got a leg, and I love doing kicks, and he started smashing falls, he got the hot tag to Kevin Knight. And I tell you, this guy can run wild. We then went back to the super kicks because Nick wanted to do a super kick party, but instead everybody hit a kick that was super. And I even joined in at home. I thought, well, I don't want to be left out. I'm a weird guy. The Hurricane Rana that Kevin eventually hit should be illegal. It was so ridiculous. And yes, the Young Bucks hit a TK driver or a Meltzer driver on the outside. I mean, that must have hurt everybody. They all landed on their tuchuses. Knight was still able to fight out the EVB trigger and hit the double DDT. But that's what I think Ricochet remembered. Oh yeah, it was Kevin who came to the ring to stop me So now I'm going to go out there and I'm going to stop him. So he basically tripped up Kevin Knight just as he was going for his finish, which is when the Young Bucks hit the EVP trigger and they got the 1, 2, 3. So again, this was just nice and simple booking. Ricochet now feels like he's gone back to the top of the world. Kevin Knight can go, well, I was going to win, but this bald idiot, you got me doing it now. This person managed to screw me over, and of course the Young Bucks needed a victory too. They've only just come back up. Renee Paquette then went and found Toni Storm in the back. And I suppose it's because she's a star. Now she wanted to know how Toni felt about Jamie Hayter versus Kris Statlander that was going down later. And I think Storm's advice was, rip each other's tits off. Why not? Toni also talked about the Empire Strikes Back and how no Empire is able to strike her back. I also think she said she's not a lover, but a fighter. Other way around, she's a fighter, not a lover. It's one of those two. The reason I'm stumbling is because she also came out with this idea that she's going to cut her way around Hollywood. There is no going back now. Today calls the division Slop Tarts and announced a title eliminator match for the weekend, and I presume it is going to be Queen Amanata, because she walked in all like, oh, hi, let's go. Now listen, Toni Storm is one of the biggest stars in the company. This promo was so good. But my geek brain kicked into gear here, I can't help it sometimes, and I am going to give it a down, because the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament is going on right now, with the winner getting a shot at Toni Storm, whereas Queen Amanata, who was not in the tournament, has now just gone, woohoo, I get a shot. I just think you need to leave these until the Owen Hart Cup is done. I understand you want to get that championship on television, but if I was somebody in the brackets, I'd be absolutely pissed off. There's my nerd down. Toni Storm is absolutely amazing though, and really, we are only just getting started. The best story in all of All Elite Wrestling came next, or at least arguably so. But I tell you, all this stuff between MJF and the Hurt Syndicate is brilliant. MVP basically mugged off the Gates of Agony to begin here, because they were like, we beat them, we're not going to see them for a while. When, yes, out came Maxwell Jacob Friedman, because he is desperate to be a part of the team. Now, he knows that these three had the time of their life last week, given what he did offer them, so he's just here to have another vote, because he would like 3 thumbs. Now, he almost actually did get it, because MVP continued to point in the up direction, and this time Shelton Benjamin did it too, but he made it very clear, I'm only doing this because I respect MVP. Bobby Lashley then obviously gave MJF a down. I'm not gonna lie, at this point, especially as I was making my notes, I was like, man, this is essentially gimmick infringement. They've totally taken my idea. Shelton also stopped Maxwell from hugging him at one point when Friedman turned his attention to Bobby Lashley, because he was like, listen, I understand where you're coming from, but never forget, I can offer you things that you can't offer yourself. The end result can be that every single person in this team does have some gold, and they can run wrestling. When MJF did something he rarely does, he basically apologized to Bobby Lashley. Now, of course, Bob was still like, look at my thumb, it is pointing in the wrong direction for you. When Maxwell had another idea, because he was like, did you see that car I arrived in when I got to Dynamite? Well, damn it, I'm going to give it to you. Now, I suppose for a little bit, Lashley was conflicted, so they started to walk to the back, and commentary did make this very clear. The only reason MJF is doing this is because he sees joining the Hurt Syndicate as the easiest pathway back to the AEW World title. Lashley eventually stole this thing too, because he said, hey Max, you're not in the group. He just joined off, and I do have to say this. MJF basically took shib after shib here, which is all he's happy to do when he's trying to get something he wants. But then usually when he does get that thing, well, he goes back to being an asshole again. MVP continued to give him an education though, because he was like, listen, remember we talked about give these people what they want, or give people in the Hurt Syndicate what they want. And it's just good breadcrumbs, man. I want to see where it is going to go. I presume that MJF will get in, and then what we do, I do not know. And also, most weeks, at least one segment is really funny. So it is just well thought out, and if MJF wants my advice, I would buy Bobby Lashley protein. I then think he will love you. But there's another element to all of this. Obviously, Max is going to have to do something when Bob finally goes, you're all right by me, kid. I don't actually have a flubbing clue what that's going to be. So I am genuinely intrigued. That is the point of a week-to-week TV show. Where's it going to go? Scary fingers up. Renee Paquette then tried to interview Hangman Adam Page. And this guy is just unhinged. So he just started to scream, when I see that Carl Fletcher, he's going to be dead on his ass. When in walked MJF. Ruh-roh. Now, he insulted the fact the Cowboy now has a stupid haircut, so the Cowboys are like, you don't even have a car. When Freeman felt like he'd found the KO blow, because he was like, Adam, you're going through a long, laborious tournament to try and win a world championship. I'm about to get my opportunity, and I assume will be a 2-time AEW world champion. He also reminded Page at the moment in the record books it is one-on-one, when he said the next time we fight, I am going to send you to the glue factory. I was like, well, there's a twist. I did not know that Adam Page was a horse. Either way, it doesn't matter for Page, because when he does get to the finals, he's going to do what he always does, eat a carrot. Not eat a carrot. He's not actually a horse. MJF thinks he's gonna choke. MJF then walked off as I think the cowboy shouted after him, "I've got something you can choke on." Listen, young viewers of Ups and Downs, he didn't mean anything by that. In fact, he was talking about his hair. That's right. It was a little bit of a callback because you've had hair in your mouth before and it's all disgusting and horrible. Just never Google that, okay? Never look it up. Just please stick with the hair. Honestly though, these two when they are together are just so damn good. I suppose eventually they are going to have another match, likely when one is the AEW World Champion. So here comes that word again, intrigue. When we got another fire tag match, and I tell you, I know that AEW isn't perfect, but at least every single week they will at least give you one banger. On this Dynamite we had a few. I think that's important. Sometimes you just want to see some video game wrestling. There's also Josh Alexander and Takeshita taking on Will Ospreay and Brody King. And in no universe you could visit every single one, you could get a DeLorean and search the timelines, would you find this to be bad? They're all too damn talented. William and Joshua also started out here, and it was a lovely reminder about what they did in TNA. Let's hope they have a proper feud one day. They have terrific chemistry, and they should be teaching science. Brody also got to get in there and run everybody down because he is a big guy. Well, of course, it was Don Callis causing the interference that switched all this around. You know the deal, he's a massive dickhead. Ospreay to get out of this eventually went flippy dippy doo-dah when he did get the hot tag to Brody. Once again, nobody runs wild better than him because he's such a big hoss. He also did a dive and just crushed some people into Barry Barricade. And look, deep down in my Tootsie Toes, and we are going to talk about this, I just knew he was going to be taking the pin. And eventually we've got to switch that because he's just too good. Will Ospreay actually proved he was quite smart here too because he missed the Blue Thunder Bomb when he got hit with the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment, which is indeed called the Blue Thunder Bomb. And do you think it worked, my friends? Of course it didn't. It never does. It also looked like our heroes were going to save the day when Lance Archer had tried to get involved too, which does make sense because he is part of the Don Callis family. And do you think it's a real family? Or do you think it's just a family on paper? Like, are they blood related? I don't know what we're talking about. It did allow Josh Alexander to hit this mad power bomb. By this point, I was like, man, just let them fight forever, or for the allotted times that Tony Khan has decided. William then got totally ended by Takeshita, which is when they turned their attentions to Brody King. And listen, they did hit him with around about 42,762 moves, but he kept kicking out. When Takeshita got his power knee, Josh Alexander hit the craziest C4 you've ever seen in your life. How the flub did he get him up? 1, 2, 3. The Don Callis family then tried to wreck them because they are assholes, and Carl Fletcher was smiling like, ha ha, I am the best. And even though Hangman Adam Page came out to try and stop this, all of a sudden Trent and Rocky Romero were here, because of course they reunited on Collision. Roppongi Vice is back. It also made total sense too, because Trent used to be allied with Don Callis. That's what Taz said on commentary as well. The Don Callis family has too many guys. Carl made sure to lay out Adam too, because they are fighting next week in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. So actually, when you do break it down, we did do a lot of business here. So it really did rule, and once again, having all these group of guys go toward just has so much potential. There's that word again. And it's great that Josh Alexander got the win, because of course he lost last week, so we have brought balance to the force. You should go and watch this. Up. You know my deal though, we've already discussed it, my nerd ways. I do not like the fact that Brody King continues to lose, because once again I saw it coming a mile away, and he's too good to be pinned all the time. Though actually, I think this is going to work in his favour, and one day he will go win, 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 and then get a title. But until then, I'm going to throw my toys out the pram. Like a modern 2025 wrestling fan, it's getting it down. It was the main event after this though, the Women's Owen Hart Cup semi-finals. Kris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter. And all I'm going to tell you is that you should go and watch this right now. Of course, because both guys are powerful, they tried to be powerful, but because there was too much power, eventually they just balanced out. It's like Superman 2. Somehow though it charged them both up and they did brawl to the outside when Kris went for a moonsault but missed. By that point, Jamie was going, oh, I did it. When they got back in the ring, they punched each other in the face again. We were then getting German suplexes, head scissors, and flipping meteoras to the back of the skull. When Jamie got out of the way of Wednesday Night FIFA and hit this huge bomb of power, I mean, these two were really going for it. Jamie also somehow smashed out the Haterade from nowhere, so they were both down. So guess what Kris did? She was like, oh man, you want some agility too? And she hit a flipping 450. They really are like video game characters, and quite smartly, Statlander was like, well, I'm just gonna go do it again. But this time, Jamie was ready for her. And they kind of had a bit of a tussle on the top rope when it turned out that Jamie was controlling her wrist. She just leveled her with the Haterade. And damn it, she got the 1, 2, 3. She also made sure she hit another lariat before that as well, so it was essentially a double finish. And of course, right after this, Mercedes Moné came out because her and Jamie Hayter are in the finals, and they stared at each other because that's what super serious wrestlers do. The production guy was also playing both of their themes. That was a little bit strange. But of course, that's a match people have been asking for ages, and it's going to be so good. And also, eventually, we have to go back to Hayter versus Statlander, because that absolutely ruled as well. You also had the wonderful situation that either of them could have won, and you would have totally bought it. So seriously, the Owen Hart Cup this year, especially on the female side, has been so damn good, and it's something we should capitalize on going forward. Getting it up. Which indeed brought us to the end of Dynamite. And listen, this one isn't going to set anybody on fire, which is good because you'll die. But in terms of moving us to the next direction, I thought it ticked loads of boxes. And it just made me want to see what was going to happen next week. Getting it up. Now, please do leave me a comment below and like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And let me know what you thought about the show itself in case you didn't like it and need to put that in my brain. Now, I must go rest because my damn voice is so wrecked from Las Vegas. But you think I'm gonna stop making YouTube content? Never. Even when I'm dead, I'll figure it out, which is a very peculiar thing to say. Can't even talk anymore. Goodbye.